So this graphing quadratics cheat sheet should be in your Google Classroom. And you should save this for next year because you're definitely going to be going over this at some point. So there's three basic forms of quadratics. We have what's called standard form, not super useful. We'll take a look at what I mean in a minute. And then there's vertex form, very useful. And then there's intercept form. It's fairly useful, okay? So I'm gonna pop over here into Desmos, and you should print this out. All right, so let's just take a look at a general quadratic. Quadratic just means that the variable is squared. Okay, variable is squared. So anytime we have a y equals x squared, it looks just like this. You could go ahead and have a table of values, plot some points, and you'll notice that it's sort of a U shape. Okay, first thing that you'll notice is, let's say we take that and we multiply it by a number, and let's say we multiply it by 5. Oh, it makes it skinny. Okay, what if we multiply it by a decimal, 0.2? Oh, it makes it wide. What if we took it and multiplied it by a negative? Oh, it turns it upside down. Okay, just playing around a little bit here. Now, we're going to first start off with what I call vertex form. Y equals a, x minus h squared plus k. And I'm going to add these sliders. All right. So let's take this to 0 and k to 0. So there's my basic y equals x squared. Okay. So this is basically just the equation y equals x squared. Okay. So what happens as the a value changes? Well, the a value, as it gets bigger, the parabola gets skinnier. Okay. As the a value becomes a fraction, it gets wider. And then when it becomes negative, whoa, it flips upside down. Okay. And that's what I mean in here, where a, if it's in vertex form, a determines concave up or down. If it's positive, we say that it's concave up, which means it's like a happy face. If a is negative, it's concave down, which is like a sad face. And then a also determines the width of the parabola. Okay, so that's the a value. Now what happens with this h and k? All right, so let's just take a and we'll turn it back into 1. Now h, this number here, the number that you're subtracting from the x, oh, it seems to move it left or right. Okay, so let's say x is 0, right? It's right on 0. But what if h is 5? Oh, we're over here. Okay, so that means if I have x minus 5 squared, this parabola is moved 5 to the right. It's sort of the opposite of whatever the sign is. Okay, so what if h was negative 2? Oh, moved it 2 units to the left. Okay, so that would have been x plus 2. Right, because x minus negative 2 is x plus 2. Now what happens with k? All right, let's say k is 3. Oh, it moved it up 3. What if k was negative 1? Oh, it moved the parabola down 1. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. We have y equals, let's go x minus 3 squared plus 4. Okay, this has a vertex at 3, 4. What is a vertex? A vertex is where the parabola changes shape. Okay, so this parabola has a vertex at 3, 4. 3, 4. Okay, let's say that the a value was negative 1, so this was negative, whoop, flips it upside down. It still has a vertex of 3, 4, but it's now an upside down parabola. Okay. What if the a value had been like 1/5, a fraction? Ooh, it's a really wide parabola with a vertex at 3, 4. What if the A value had been 10, a big number, really skinny parabola, but same vertex at 3, 4. Okay. Now the next one I want to take a look at is intercept form. X minus P, X minus Q. Sliders. Let's make P3 and Q1. Okay. The P and the Q tell us what our x-intercepts are going to be. I have an x-intercept at 3, right? A 3, and a y-intercept, or excuse me, another x-intercept at 1. The A tells me if it's facing up or down. So if A had been a -1, whoop, same intercepts, but now it's upside down. So let's take a look at this equation. Let's say we had y equals -3, so it's going to be upside down, x plus 2, x minus 4. So this is upside down, right? Whoa, let's look at that parabola. Upside down, but it's got an intercept at -2 and a +4. So if we take a look here, +4, -2. Okay, if you have something in standard form, typically you want to convert it into vertex form when possible, or you could turn it into intercept form because you've learned how to factor. Otherwise, you just you'll have to learn about that next year. Let's just focus on vertex form and intercept form. Now I want you to try that Desmos activity that I've assigned.